Yeah, Junior should be here soon. We're gonna have an under the hood session. The main thing today is under the hood session with Lehigh Gap story. Is that Michelle? Hi, Michelle. How are you? Come join us. And there's cookies too today. They're good. They're addicting. Pretty good limiting myself to one cookie a day. Tommy, you want a cookie? Yeah. They're these like chocolate or chocolate peanut butter Oreo. Is that what are they actually called there? They're called
peanut butter pie.
Peanut butter pie. Yeah. I don't want one. I'm trying to resist today.
I've had enough.
I had enough over the weekend.
Yeah.
All right, and Quan, so one more item too. I put this in the notes I assigned to you if you want it. If not, maybe we can assign to somebody else. But remember yesterday, it was Saturday, sorry. At Jacobsburg, a woman, she told us that she was at the Francis E. Walter Dam. And I'm sorry, she was at Bethlehem, right? She was at the Bethlehem photosphere. And when she said the question is showing Francis E. Walter Dam. So somebody needs to take a look at that.
Wait, sorry. So she was in which photosphere again?
Well, she was
you said Francis, right?
And what she told us was it was at the question, but I'm wondering if we should look at everything. I mean, all the location. I mean, I think every location you're in, it tells you at the bottom where you're located. And so would you be willing to take a look at that?
Oh yeah, sure. Gotcha.
I guess so that's the headset bill. So that's going to be an IVR1 VR, right? Is that what the repository is called? I'm asking anybody.
Wait, is it an everyone yellow?
One yellow. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm good at it, thank you.
Okay. All right. So you can do that, Quan?
Yeah, I'm putting the thing up. Wait, so it's the location label we're talking about, right?
And it's yellow. It's so when you're in the photosphere, the Bethlehem Steel photosphere, she was in that photosphere. What she told us was that the question is showing Francis E. Walter at the location and not Bethlehem Steel. But I think what we should do is just not only just look at the question, but I think at every location, when you go through the narration, it tells you, I think at the bottom, it says the actual location, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I put it
everything
up.
in Bethlehem Steel photosphere in that repository. And that would be, you think that's going to be needed to take a look on the PC version too? You think that's an error?
Yeah.
It would have been carried over. All right. So Quan, can you also look at all right, look at IVR1 yellow, and it's VR. Is that how we labeled it, the repositories? Can you look it up for me real quick, T? I want to get this up in the notes. IVR1 yellow. That's the name of the repository that has the.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, repository. And then for the PC version, is that the same repository?
PC?
Yeah, it's called something different. IVR.
Depends because I renamed it. Watershed Explorers 2022.
Watershed Explorers. All right.
That's the full repository.
All one word, Watershed Explorers in parentheses, Explorers. All right, 2022. Got it. All right, Quan, appreciate it. And you can, report back next week on that.
Oh, wait, sorry. I just wanted to ask, wait, so is it the question we're talking about? The question and like the theme?
You got to go to Bethlehem Steel.
Oh, Bethlehem still. Okay, thank you. I
Yeah.
misheard to Francis somehow.
He said at the Bethlehem Steel, it was, you're pulling it up right now, so might as well just go ahead and take this bigger. Hi, Junior. We're taking just a quick look here at some feedback. Oracle. Okay, so that panel does, Francis, see right there. Stop. See it?
Oh, I see. Thank you.
It said right there. You see it says there? That's what she saw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gotcha.
gotta change that, Francis C. Walter to Bethlehem's, called Bethlehem Steel, right? At that location.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll just paste it in there for now then. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. That's one we hadn't caught.
Sometimes things are that obvious.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a participant junior Saturday notice that for us in the headset. Quick update from us. The we had 16 participants at Jacobsburg, and we had 11 participants at the Museum of Industrial History. One of our new strategy we implemented at both places worked out really, really well. We really emphasized to everyone multiple times, like when I gave everybody the orientation, and then when like the students, Juan, T, and Maddox, were getting everybody set up, we said, hey, if you're stuck for 15 seconds or 20 seconds and can't move, just raise your hand and we'll come help you immediately. And people listened and did that. The only difference I would say with these participants compared to the previous time where people weren't doing that was we really didn't have a lot of senior citizens the last 2 days, like people over 70, like older people.
Yeah, it was like middle age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Middle age, few and some kids.
Yeah, more kids than usual.
Yeah, a few more kids than usual. But everything went really well. The other implementation thing that was really great at Jacobsburg, what Lauren had done is she had signups for like half-hour time slots, and they came on time. Actually, a lot of them came early, and then we accepted drop-ins also, and so we had some drop-ins, and it was nice to have that sign-up thing for the event. So I'm going to recommend to Chad for December 7th. Maybe they try to promote it and do it that way with some sign-ins. So that's any other updates you want to say about that? Quan, I know you don't want you to talk because you're sick. Maddox, T, anything else?
I was trying to think what I was going to say. Well, it was the one, we have to move the lady too. I know we had to move the girl
3 times.
Yeah.
3 times, yeah.
She and I don't know if it was something in the way she was using the controller.
Yeah, we weren't sure if she was leaning forward with the controller and getting it out of the boundary, but there were some wacky things were happening, so we ended up having to basically we stopped it on her and we took her to a new.
Did you check her hair?
Yeah,
Yes.
hair wasn't an issue.
Hair wasn't an issue.
We were good about making sure that was not an issue. The one lady, she was having issues clicking, but it was because she was also pressing the grip button when she was using it.
That's right.
So then I was like, oh, you don't have to, just make sure you don't touch that. It would be nice if we could somehow like just disable the buttons entirely, but I know that's
So she was hitting other buttons, yeah.
So, but it's funny because she was pressing and she was not seeing the alert.
It's because she's pressing 2 buttons at the same time. You know, like there's buttons like around like here and the buttons like we use, and she was pressing both at the same time. She couldn't.
I think the click with the trigger doesn't work properly if you're pressing the grip button and the trigger at like the exact same time. It like can't register.
That's new then. That's interesting.
Whatever the other stuff. But otherwise it was only minor issues. It went pretty well with that.
Right. So, yeah, thanks. Michelle, any updates on the website? No. I will ask a favor of you. I think what I'd like for you to do is prioritize Flood Adventure first, because we're really close to getting everything ready to run that study. We've got we have an audio issue we've got to solve in the walls, and once we have that, and then just finalize the data in the screens, once that's finalized and tested. So I'm hoping we're going to be able to run in like 2-3 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, if you can prioritize that one, that's, like, we don't need to have, like, the main, what do we call them? You know, on the immersive experience page, the content blocks, we don't need that there, because we can just, when we promote it, we can just send them, go right to that one page, whatever we call that, flood adventures, like HTTP Eli.edu flood adventure, whatever it's called. So, but that has to have all those, you know, multiple pages with the informed consent. So if you can prioritize that one, that's great to run that first. All right, so today, the main, everything's in the notes, and I know we folks kind of got a pass between now, you know, when we met 2 weeks ago, and I hope that was a nice break for people to get caught up in your studies and things of that. So nobody sent me a thing about the sprint report. Did we have a sprint report for today or not?
Yeah, we do.
We do.
I didn't really put anything on there though.
All right,
But
is there anything that we need to look at in the sprint report?
I have updates, they're just not.
Okay.
I didn't put them in.
All right, let's save the updates. I want to, because
Okay.
juniors here, let's get right into the
Yeah.
under the hood session. I don't want to take any more juniors' time. All right, so I put in the notes, this is something I want, and be honest with me. Has everybody done the Lehigh Gap story?
Like played it?
Yeah,
I've not. No.
okay. So I put the link in the notes for Lehigh Gap story. I think it's gonna be very important for, where I put it, I said, important, everyone should play, you know, the Lehigh Gap story, it's in the notes.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to do that, because, we have the WebGL version up, it works. And being able to understand how it goes from beginning to end is gonna help everybody understand, how we're gonna convert this over to VR. And I apologize, I probably should have told everybody to do that before this meeting, but it is what it is. So briefly before Junior starts, what it is it's a virtual field trip, basically, and it's narrated by a bird avatar named Brownie. And if you've ever gone on the LNE trail at the Lehigh Gap, there's two key components to it. There's the story mode, and then there's like exploration mode. And for now, we're just going to focus on the story mode. We can talk later about if we're going to do a VR version of exploration mode or not, which I don't know if we are. But the story mode, basically, you go to the location, and I believe it's just one photosphere, and there's historical images, and there's narration. Like Brownie talks to you, you hear Brownie talk. So we have the audio. We're going to want that audio talking in the headsets. And, you know, and after you're done with looking at all the media, there's one thing I think is going to be, it's going to be a new challenge for us. There's one photosphere where there's rocks, and you can touch the rocks and move them. So that we're going to have to sort of think about with, you know, directions about, you know, put your raycast on the rocks and how to make them in the experiences. You'll see you can make them zoom in, zoom out, and rotate. So I don't know what kind of functionality is going to be easy to transfer over into VR without having to have a detailed tutorial. You know, I envision it's going to be like we did with Watershed Explorers, raycast, you know, to click on targets to see image, like icons to see the historical imagery. And there's like this green arrow to move to the next, to continue, says, click the green arrow to continue down the path. So, and then between one of the photospheres, is it in a photosphere or it's between, Junior, the acid rain animation?
It's not in a photosphere.
Yeah, so, and I think
it's in an open 3D environment.
yeah, so we have this thing, and that one, that was what Jean Yu worked on, right?
Also, she worked in the first scene in the tutorial and
Yeah.
in the acid rain scene.
Yeah. So the two hardest parts I think are maybe done, or at least they got started with. So we have that, and Zhang Yu and Jillian were working on this in summer 2023, and they started they're kind of part-time and as associate, right, in Mountaintop. But we had to table it because we really wanted to get Watershed Explorers done run the study. So now we're kind of, going back, which is, yay, last thing on our board. And then just, down the road, once we get Junior is fairly optimistic. He thinks, if we all jam on this, we might be able to get it done by the end of the semester. And not have to worry too much about it next semester. So we'll try our best to see if we can get it done. I'm thinking the other thing with the builds for the Lehigh Gap story, I don't know if we need any analytics for this. I put like on the board question mark, but I'm not sure there's really any data that we would want to gather for that. Zalong's at a meeting today, so we can ask him next week. All right, anything else before you start, Junior? Yeah, definitely, like, everybody take a look at the. All right, Junior, we're good? Are you ready to start? All right, it's all you, Junior, you're running.
Oh, I need you to open something because I'm in Quitstown. I don't have the game here.
What's that?
I need somebody to drive in the computer in the lab.
I mean, I
You
could,
can take it.
okay, yeah.
All right, T. All right. T's got you covered. T's got you covered. I like it when T drives. Yeah, I got, everything's on full screen with that. So you might even minimize or just move it.
Wait, what are we looking at?
All right, so first of all, I didn't click that one, yeah. Okay, Junior, what do you want, what do you need to open?
What I need like Unity, the project, right?
Yeah, yep. Unity Hub, yeah. What we're looking for. It's not out here. When I scroll down, I'll know when I see it. Yeah, Lehigh Gap Story VR, right? All right, so Junior, you see the warning there?
Let me see because that two screen stuff.
Okay, so we want to go, it's asking us to install the 2022 version.
Yeah, before we switch to.
Let's take a look at the Branch Explorer in plastic first because we need to see what version was. The only thing that I'm sure is that Shanyu was using a Mac, but she was in a similar version that we were, so. And by the way, I don't have any screen shared yet. I just have.
Go back. You're not seeing the screen sharing?
No.
Huh. Because we're sharing the screen. Stop the share and share it again. You see it, Junior?
Maybe I'll have to leave and come back again because the other day this happened as well, remember? Oh, now I see. Now I see.
Okay.
Okay, so the version is correct. 22.3.16 F1. What is Unity Hub telling you? So, no. What?
That's Story VR.
Can you go back to plastic, please? So, can you see click on the label. On the label, the green arrow.
Yeah, the label. Yeah, hover right there, hold on. We changed, updated the Unity version of 2022.3. Yeah, we updated to that version, 2022.3.
Click the label, the green circle.
That'd be the text about it.
Yeah,
Okay, so project tested and working after updating. So I even left the breadcrumbs. Next step, make the UI for the narration to show in the world space instead of camera space, and revise scene 1 tutorial and scene 6 acid rain.
all right. So I put that in the notes about that next step.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right, so hold on, Steve.
you can copy. If you click there, you can copy and paste.
Yeah, and I've got the document open behind in the browser. Yep. So if you went 2022.3.5,
Let's do something else. Close this window. Click, yes, click there. Scroll down. Scroll down again. Yeah, that's the second one. Yes. Open. Change. So something that I missed here was, why did Unity Hub ask you to download a different version? Does it mean that anyone at some point downloaded a higher version and
well, and I remember on the 23rd, Junior, I think I remember we went in and we updated all the projects to that new version. That was something I think you, me, and John sat in here and did that together.
Well, look, Unity is telling us that the Changyu's project was still in the 5F1 version. But since where is my annotator? Here, since the version only differs in the end, it doesn't change here in the middle or the year, it's fine. It's not going to be a major change. So you can continue.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The problem is when either the year of the editor or the middle number is different, because then it's a total different version with lots of changes.
Right.
But the number before the F, it's just like the bi-weekly patch that they release to fix minor issues.
So you want to go ahead now, T, and open it up in Unity? Oh, sorry, here. She's
It's
waiting,
opening,
floating,
right?
floating, yeah. I'm sorry, I need to be patient.
It's ready.
Okay.
Okay, so T, let's do the following. Let me try to ask the control so that I can drive. It's gonna be better than just like do this, do that. It's very annoying. Wait, am I not logged in? Share screen. It's different now. Oh, there is a problem. We cannot move photospheres in this mode.
Game mode right now.
So let's collaborate, T. Whenever I need to move photospheres, I'll ask you to move, all right? So first, there's clutter.
Yeah, there is. I see a lot of clutter there.
So probably this scene here that has XY, which is Shan Yu and Junior, was something that we were working together to troubleshoot in the acid rain. Or no, it was even here. So that's why it's the last steps were we have to revise the tutorial and so we have tutorial VR and scene 6 acid rain VR. Okay, so are we recording?
Yes.
So under the hood, what is the structure of this
Let's just double check, make sure.
software?
Let's just double check, make sure. Yeah, just click on Zoom. Um,
Yeah. I can record.
Just enlarge Junior there, that one. Yeah, recording, perfect, okay.
Okay, so what we did, like Brownie appears in at least 2 or 3 different places in the photosphere. Every scene starts with Brownie narrating the history of that place. So what we did was we created duplicates in the hierarchy of all the game objects for Brownie after we made it work. For example, we have Brownie with 1 balloon, Brownie with information, Brownie with arrow. Brownie with arrow is the last Brownie because once you finish completing the checklist of that location, Brownie appears on top of a green arrow and says, once you're ready to continue your journey, click on the green arrow to follow me. It's something like that. So if you, like, I think T will need to help me now. If we enable all these game, oh, it's there. So if we enable all these game objects, like Brownie appears in their respective locations in different moments of that scene. So
Yeah, pause for a sec, Junior. So those who haven't done this before, when Brownie appears, there's this checklist, and it always starts with, it has kind of the icon on the left. The first one there, the Brownie icon is talk to Brownie. And then there's the eyes for, you have to view the information sign. And then the arrow is moving forward. And there might be a historical image or something too in those checklists. And
no, it's a rock.
oh, the rock. Yeah, the second.
Yeah, because the historical
rocks.
image is the information sign. It's
Yeah.
the letter I.
Yeah, but there's also, I thought, other images, unless I thought there was other information. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've looked at this.
Yeah, I think, but whatever, yeah, either if it's an historical sign or
Yeah,
trail sign of
yeah,
the test plots. I think we have been communicating under
okay,
the eye, this one
all
here.
right, so that could be any historical image. So that's what you get, and then as you complete the checklist, if you look at the last one, upper left corner, where Brownie or checklist looks like 110, it means that you've talked to Brownie, you've looked at the information sign, all that's left is to click the green arrow to move forward. And that's kind of what this does, is as you go through the photosphere, it keeps track of what you do and what you see. And the idea there, and this worked really well in desktop VR, it's this idea to promote some agency with the player to choose the order of things to do. But typically, you always talk to Brownie first. You always, you press the T to talk to Brownie.
So it's very helpful to play the desktop version first for you to understand like what content there is to be consumed, because once you come to the VR version, you will see that we were in that stage of the project that we were translating the interface from a 2D interface to an immersive interface. So what that entailed was like, okay, are we going to be putting Brownie as a 3D object? Are we going to be using lighting and shadows? So as always, because I am very limited with lighting, and as you all know, I always design these projects trying to minimize lighting so that we can make it easier for the computers to process whether it's like a powerful computer or not, or even if it's WebGL being loaded. So this project doesn't have any lighting whatsoever. Even though there is directional light here, I don't think that something is gonna see. I disabled the light and nothing was affected. So this is even clutter from the developing stages.
Yeah.
What we did was I took Brownie's 3D model and I took snapshots of Brownie in different positions with different lighting so that the shade on her face could be different, so that we would have multiple Brownie sprites to be plugging on the immersive interface to give the illusion that we had a 3D character. But actually, all of this here that we are seeing, the Brownie, the checklist, the balloons, the options, and the help buttons, they are 2D textures of UI overlaid in 3D planes. Like it's a shenanigan that we can create interactable UI that is 2D, but using the plane because it has a mesh, right? So that we have the box collider, all that kind of stuff. Sean Yu's goals when she was working with us was to translate all of that. And I think she did an excellent job because she was able to bring the tutorial from the desktop version and the WebGL version to immersive. She also incorporated the feedbacks that Dr. Bods in the group and I were always giving to her. For example, in the 2D version, the checklist lives on the top right corner of the screen, but in the immersive interfaces, there is no corner. So we were thinking, how could we make it more intuitive for everyone to consume the assistive interface so that they can have the scaffold and the support they need to move forward? So let's put everything around Brownie because Brownie is the centerpiece of every scene. So not only we can keep an eye on our checklist here, but we can also click this button to open the options panel or click this button to open the help panel. And again, just like I said in the beginning, you'll find this structure, or you should find this structure of multiple game objects with brownies, and like it's all repetitive because we have all the components that need to be there to work, but we have more flexibility to move the parent game object with all those elements and if we need to adjust. Let me cancel this
Same
here.
approach for Brownie sprite. Juan asked, do we think we can use the same approach for Brownie sprites in VR?
We are already using that because this is the VR version. What is Quan's exact question?
That was, he said, yeah, he didn't realize we were the VR version.
Okay, so this is the VR version.
Yes.
Quan, notice that the panel is kind of like tilted, like it's weird because we can look around here, like, T, look around for us, please. See, so we have like placed the elements in strategical locations in the photosphere so that we have that illusion that we are surrounded by that. But yeah. It's similar, the framework for creating Lehigh Gap Story is the same of Watershed Explorers because we work with photospheres in most scenes instead of creating 3D scenes out of the blue.
I had something come up. Okay, see you, talk to you.
Does that have black Quest 2 controller?
Probably, yeah, we'll have to, yeah,
Maybe
we'll have to change.
oh, it's rock, okay.
Yeah, we'll change the controllers.
Yeah, this is the controller from Quest 1, which was the first VR version that we made for Lehigh Story.
That's right, they were black, okay. Makes sense.
So if you move a little into this panel that is like the game settings panel, T. Yeah, that's excellent. Let me just remove these gizmos here because they always get in the way. Yeah. So this is from one of our LVSIF 2022, I guess, cohort. We were designing and thinking about how to create immersive interfaces that were very usable and recyclable so that you can see the ABC here. Currently, we have the tab C, so it's highlighted with a yellow line below. So C is game settings. But if you click B and A, it opens a different set of options or configurations. In the middle, I left this here for ease of presentations. There is these two options of follow head. What does that mean? This is in immersive VR, we can decide whether we have static interfaces that are like anchored in the world space, or we can decide to make some interfaces that follow our head smoothly as we move the head, right? So this was the very first project that we implemented this functionality. So there is this option. If you want the panel, just like move your head to look around to find Brownie. If you want that message to move smoothly as you move your head around, you would have the follow head option enabled. But if you don't want that panel to be following your face, like as you move the head, you can disable that. That's one of the main functionalities of this version, the immersive version of Lehigh Gap Story. I don't think the information signs or photos, historical photos, are like this. We have used the world space canvas to anchor them at a specific location. What we can do, I believe, is to increase the zoom. I don't remember now, but yeah. So let me see. Oh, look at that. I can use now here. Oh, I can use this now. Look, Brownie is here. So she's introducing herself. This is part of the tutorial. When we hit play, let's see if this is what has shown you left for us. Yeah, so another thing that we needed to discover was how can we facilitate this tutorial? Oh, it's here. Like, can you see there is a gaze system and a reticle? So we needed to find a very easy way to communicate to the players, whether they were like seasoned players or first timers, that this reticle was essential for them to be interacting. Currently, I'm simulating, but this reticle is just like in Watershed Explorers. When you move the pointer with the controller, that reticle like touches the interactable interface. So we were like creating a step-by-step tutorial But in this first step, what we needed to teach the user was that they need to move their head around all the time to find Brownie and to see the elements of that location. So Shanyu and I were able to activate like a piece of code or whatever that whenever it touched or like the thing, it triggered the rest of the tutorial, right? So, and then Brownie teaches us the second piece we need to learn, like that whenever we touch anything, the interactable UI highlights. Like, actually, it should be the object itself, not just the radical, but it's fine. There is a kind of feedback there. Usually, like in the best practices of design, in immersive design, we would make the radical to react, to expand a little, right? Or to shrink whenever we touch something that is interactable, not only changing the color. Because if in this case here, if the person has some kind of color blindness, this visual cue might not be enough to like cue them that, oh, I can interact with this question mark. Yeah, so, but at least like Shanyu was good at making things consistent, which is a very important design principle. So here we have like, it's only the radical highlighting and not the interactive UI. So the second thing is like select Brownie by hovering your pointer over her, make sure the circle appears, then the trigger button at the front of your controller. So we were teaching them that the only button they need to use is the trigger button, right? So I don't know how to do that anymore here because I'm in the simulator or whatever. I don't know how to click.
You want to click it for him?
But I think she would need to have a headset connected.
Oh,
Or maybe try to click for me, T, like hold shift and press Z.
I think there's, I remember from the tutorial, there is some way that it mimics the buttons of,
yeah.
I
There
just
is.
don't know.
Emulator, I don't know.
Yeah,
I used to know them back in the day when I had to use
Yeah.
it for my.
Oh, but this is
Oh.
T, let me take a look at another thing. This is configurable. Like we can configure the emulator that is here. Maybe it's here. Left shift. What is the button to?
what would you shift for?
Shift is what we hold to activate the camera movement, as
Okay.
though we were moving our head. Yeah, that's hard because like it's a node project, so we don't remember where things are. But can you see here that like it's in runtime, so they think that we have a headset connected, and that's not
Yeah.
the case.
Yeah. What we'll have to be doing moving forward, like we've had to do with water sensors, we'll have to put a link cable to this. Right. For sure.
Missing scripts, clutter. We need to remove that as well. What I can tell you, is it Maddox that is going to be working on this project or everybody, right?
Everybody,
Everybody.
everybody.
But
Yeah.
what I can tell Maddox first is that it's much easier than IVR2, and you just finished IVR2, so you leveled up 100 levels. So
I mean, it's
that story is going to be a piece of cake.
basically finished. Yeah, I think I've fixed the video, the progress bars issue, and there's just one little quirk with because you can replay the puzzles now. There's just one little quirk that I have to iron out to make that work completely. But yeah, it's basically done.
Yeah, it'll take, I don't know if we'll have time today, but not next week.
But that's good to know that this is easier.
Yeah.
So one thing that is very important to remind here, and since this is a very old project, we still have the old dialogue manager which is the VR UI interaction framework. But I do not recommend us moving up to XRI here because this is a simple project and we don't need to be moving or, unless it's broken or it's not like working anymore, then we would be like trying to translate.
This was the first project our group ever did.
That's cool.
Except for the prototype, but
Right.
but yeah, this
I didn't know it
was
was
the
the
first,
first,
the
yeah.
very first group.
Yeah, the very first team of students that we advised was technical entrepreneurship in 2019.
Yeah.
They started this for us.
So they're coming full circle then. Pretty
Yeah.
much. That's cool.
So yeah, so one of the things, and I'll say this to everybody, but as you're going through this, I think and I'm just thinking maybe one of the first things that we should do between this week and next week. I mean, y'all don't have tons of hours, that you work each week, with Maddox being the exception. But I think it's going to be important, like to watch, you'll spend the whatever half hour, go through the desktop, the WebGL version. And then maybe I'm thinking, Junior, it might be just to get familiar with the interface and what things are. And
what should expect, like what they need to do and what should expect to progress and finish the experience.
And think of ideas as you play around with it, of ideas you might have is how can we optimize some of this stuff to make it better? Because like I said, Zhang she worked on this. I think, Junior, I think it's safe for me to say, I think the skill set of all of you is with Unity is higher than Shang Yu's was. So this may not be the most optimal way of translating in from the desktop VR WebGL version to this. And so I think maybe what our task should be between this week and next week is get familiar with this and think critically about, are there ideas that we can come up with to optimize things better? And we're also gonna have to clean the clutter, but again, let's think about optimization and ways that we might think about, and if we come to the conclusion that, hey, this is great, and let's just stay the course, then so be it. But I do want you to kind of think about ways to optimize.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to everybody?
So to just clarify things, we should play through, because this is Lehigh Gap Story VR, what we're looking at.
Yeah.
We should play through the regular PC version.
Yes.
WebGL,
PC or the online that is in our website.
WebGL. So then, but if how much is this the only scene that has any VR functionality yet, or is it
in this version?
Yeah.
This is one of the scenes because Shanyu also worked on this scene, which is the acid rain.
Acid rain.
So if I am at home and I boot, this looks cool. If I boot this up, and I plug in my VR headset, I'll be able to interact with these two scenes.
Yeah.
Hopefully so, because we knew that Shanyu had a headset, and she was always testing. The only thing that is like a hurdle for us is because she was developing on a Mac computer.
Yeah.
So we were trying really to minimize every difference, but it seems she was able to do it. Like this was the biggest hurdle, like this Storm Brewing in immersive version in Brownie, but I don't know. I remember that the biggest challenge for Shanyu was to put the dialogue system, that box appearing here in front of the user, but not in the middle of the eyes, but like floating in a nice space that they could read as they were moving. I don't know how it looks like now.
Is there any freedom with like design stuff for like in the scene, for example, like to make
Can you ask that again, please?
Is there freedom for like making design decisions still? Like if we wanted to make this scene look like
That's up to Dr. Bodzin because he knows the deadlines that he'd like to have that ready.
Like, not that we want to get too carried away, but I'm just thinking, I'm looking at this scene and it's nice, but if you look at like IVR4, like what we have there, it'd just be like,
Yeah, especially you because you have the most expertise of like putting trees and like having wind zones and whatever.
Yeah.
it's just up to you. All I'm saying is I guess it could be spruced up a little bit, but we don't have to go overboard. But it's up to you whether we even want to do like because
What I like to suggest, Dr. Bodzin, is to use behaviorism and allow medics to come to scene 6 after all the other normal scenes are finished. Because then the project will be close to completion and then he can fall into the rabbit hole.
That's a good idea. And then again, the other thing too, Maddox, is again, I think what's going to be important is as you'll see this in the WebGL version.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we want to have this thing. I know like I think Sean, you had some problems getting the trees to again, it's been a long time, but I think there were issues with the trees and how she got the trees to leave the leaves. Because what happens in the scene is you have this forest and then there's this kind of smoke that kind of goes across the river and comes to the forest and it kind of rains down the acid rain.
Yeah.
And then the leaves just kind of disappear and they become barren trees. That's kind of the idea.
I would know how to do that in the future.
Yeah. And so
just like if we're adding different trees, but no, I think it should be that could be after the
Yeah.
So this is the second most complex scene of this project, especially for VR.
Yeah.
The third one that is the most complex is the second one, which we have rocks. And this is very interesting because it depending on the timeline that Dr. Bodzin has in mind, we might be able to learn how to or do the hands interaction for us to touch and grab the rocks with Oculus Quest 3. If we are short on schedule, like we don't have time for learning with this project, with this cohort until the end of the year, then we would just go just like IVR 3 and IVR 3, the raycast interaction. Let me see where the scenes are. I don't even know. Like,
I think once we start developing, and I'm trying to think, is it 6 photospheres, Junior?
7.
7. The one's got the tutorial, which has been started, I don't know if it's completely done, but that one's the hardest one with the exception of 2. So 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, those 5 are going to be pretty easy to make. Once we figure out, like using the photosphere 1, and we think about how things are placed and turned on and off for Brownie, all those components for functionality in theory should easily get moved over into those other scenes because every scene should be a different photosphere. And he's got that there. You can see it under assets where it says scenes. There's like scene 1 intro, scene 2 is the trailhead. He made it disappear, but
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then you see C3 is the broken bridge, 4 is transportation, 5 is zinc plant, 6 is the asset. 16.6 is just the animation, I guess. And 7 is the ending. So we're basically the text content is just a matter of going to the PC version and bringing the content over in terms of what Brownie says in her audio files and things of that. So I think design development wise, we should try to get things kind of standardized in the intro scene first, and then we should be able to very quickly, assign different scenes. We'll table number 2 because that one's a little bit more complex, or unless we decide to maybe give you number 2, give Maddox 2, and give everybody else, the easy scenes just to knock off quickly.
Yeah, because there is 3 and
Yeah.
4, broken bridge and transportation, then 5 and 7. So
Yeah.
the 4 of these scenes, they only have an image, historical image. There is nothing like 3D to be interacted with.
Yeah, so they're gonna be pretty easy to make.
What I noticed here is that this was not well translated from the desktop version because like there is missing mesh. So the script is here and stuff, but like the mesh of the rock is not here, so it's not showing.
So again, part of this again is just going to be going into the other repository that we have, finding those things,
Comparing them.
yeah, copying them, bringing them over. Very similar to the process. Michelle, I don't think you were involved in that, but T and Quan were for sure, I think, when we did the process of taking the desktop VR version of Watershed Explorers and then make it into the headset. I never went through that process before.
Oh, I just noticed here. In this scene, there is light because we have 3D objects, the 4 floating stones.
Oh.
Unless whenever you do the new version here, you change the texture to be the shader to be unlit. Like then you have the color of the texture of the stone and then there's no light, which to be honest doesn't affect very much the experience and it helps a lot in the processing power. But I would also try to maybe perform a clean import or export of the other project that is fully functional, and then try to see how you would go about transforming that into VR, because things are not looking nice here.
It could be better to just, yeah, do a clean import. I don't know. It does seem like things got.
They kind of got broken along the way. Like there was a sprite here of a balloon. In this, there was a bridge here, and it's not here anymore.
Do you happen to know if the scenes are URP or HDRP? Does it matter?
No, I can tell you that this is not a likelihood because we didn't know anything of these differences before. So you can assume that it's all old. It's the old input system. It's the old rendering system. I don't even know if the original one. It's Unity Universal Renderer, I guess. No, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. So again, optimization is again, as we think about between this week and next week, optimization is what I want everyone to be thinking about. Okay.
So like here, this is one of the simple things, right? 3, 4, 5, and 7. It's like this. You get into the place, there will be the checklist only will show brownie and the info sign and the arrow, because you have to click brownie first, and then you click the info sign, and then you click the arrow, and then you can continue. Then you go to number 4, similar thing, brownie, info sign, and then the arrow. Then you go to 5, same thing. Oh, this one we have 2 info signs because we have this trail sign, the information sign here of Palmerton in the zinc smelter. And on the right side, we have the test plot. So this is slightly different, but it's the same mechanics. You have the test plot sign and the smelting sign. Only one arrow and only one extra bird. The first bird is this one. Look around and find both information signs. And the second bird is the one that when brownie is ready to go. Look, whenever you're ready, follow me over here. And if you want to show the arrow, you activate the arrow, but the arrow is not showing, so it's broken as well, missing mesh. But it's the same structure. We set up these scenes like photosphere, then 3D objects or 2D objects in the places that they should be to create an illusion. Because if you go down here or back and forth, it's like where is that? Wait, it's a sphere. So if we go back, like, look, the information sign is away from, totally off of the photosphere. But when you are in the position of the camera rig, there is that illusion that the things are in the correct place, right? So, yeah, like things to consider here whenever we are working with this. Whether the raycast is clicking well and interacting with the interface, whether there are invisible panels that are blocking the interface. So it's very useful for you to be keeping an eye out on these white outlines, because it shows other objects in the scene that have a canvas or have a collider, and but they are not actively enabled in the scene. For example, here, there is this square one here in the back of brown. It might be the options or the help panel, but we are not showing that in the canvas. Anyways, then the final one, we also only have, oh, we have 2 information signs in this final scene, and that's it. So the most complex scenes are 1, because it's the tutorial, but like it's a tutorial, but it doesn't have 3D objects to interact with, so it's easier. And Shanyu has revamped that all, and it's really, she got lots of feedback from the group. So scene 1, I think it's fine. And we should try to recycle most of those choices because it's functional. Then acid rain, it's totally 3D, like with the fake 3D brownie. She put some trees just to test the weather system, like the level of details she was able to include. Can you see that the closer I get, the better, and the farther away, the worst? So this was present in the desktop version, because we saw brownie like this, like brownie was here, and then the closer trees were very detailed, but as the trees were put away from us, they were like bad.
Yeah, they use billboarding.
Yeah.
But I would say the billboarding could be a little more lenient. Like I feel like they billboard too quickly. Like not even that far away. And also having like 4 trees won't really tank performance much.
Yeah, like take a look at the original one so that you can see whatever you can bring over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And main menu, Dr. Bodzin asked me a question a few weeks ago. Like this game, this is an immersive field trip, immersive virtual field trip. It has the story mode, which is like with Brownie as the guide and giving you the background knowledge as you explore. Or it also has the explore mode. So it's 2 options in one. It's the same scenes and stuff. I think explore mode is only 1 scene, and then there are multiple photospheres here that are activated and enabled and disabled as the user chooses the locations here on the map, which also have broken sprites. But it's the same thing, like there is no brownie. It's just you go into the location and there is like an option for you to advance, to go back, or to return to the stop view. That's it.
Yeah, and I think, again, I said this at the beginning of our session today. I'm not sure yet if we're going to develop the explore mode for VR or not.
Okay.
We definitely want to do the story mode. The trade-off. So there's a couple trade-offs. I think the good thing is if you're in all explore mode is, and you can see it on the WebGL version, you're just basically selecting the photospheres and you can interact with the media elements. So there's no
checklist,
no checklist, no brownie. It's just, hey, let me just go to the photosphere, look around, and click on the information signs and the test plot sign. And so that once we here's where my thinking is. I'm thinking once we finish the story mode, making an explore mode should not be that difficult because we're gonna have the photospheres. It's just a matter of just bringing over the components and then maybe just disabling the different components that you're not using in explore mode. But again, let's try to get the story mode done first. And then we'll make that decision. Questions? A good time to pause here, Junior, for questions?
I don't think there is like anything else that I can say. I think there's like, I can answer questions now, right?
Yeah, so what questions do y'all have?
Is like the player meant to go through story mode and then go through explore mode, or is it
No.
like
No.
you just can do whatever?
Yeah.
And then do you get the opportunity to do the other mode after you finish the other one, or
Yes.
okay? Do we?
As the desktop VR is the design, yes, you can do that in the desktop, the headset, I mean, the WebGL version.
Is this going to be something that we run?
I'm sorry, I just need to answer a student here. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, at some point when this is done, I think that the headset VR version of this, we're probably going to conduct a study at Lehigh Gap Nature Center with some outreach events for this. I'd like to do that. It's a virtual field trip, but it's a narrative-based virtual field trip. So it's different than just like a generic. Have y'all done like virtual field trips with VR before?
Yeah.
And there's no storyline to it. What this is the storyline, and this is from our research that we conducted with the desktop VR. We actually ran it. We loaded the desktop VR version on computers, went into the Lehigh Gap Nature Center during some outreach events, and we had I can't remember what our sample size was, but it was a good sample size, and we asked questions about the narration and Brownie and these types of things. And what we found was that, they really liked the narration a lot for this because Brownie she introduces herself as like, my ancestors used to be here, and there's just been these horrible environmental changes over the years that happened to my ancestors, and now it's now revegetated, starting to revegetate and get green and support habitat. And the storyline really served to make an emotional connection to the participants. That was one of the big findings out of that study that we did. So yeah, so explore mode, if we do have it, it's kind of like a gallery for story. Correct, Juan. Yeah, that's right. It's like a gallery that you can just kind of explore a little. It's like a gallery without narrations. Kind of go like, again, the story in a way, explore mode is kind of like taking a virtual hike without any guidance at all. Where the story mode is, you're in a narrative-based story that tells the story of Brownie and her ancestors and what's happened at the Lehigh Gap over time through each photosphere focuses on a topic. Like there's one that focuses on the geology, that's the rock one. There's one that focuses on the gap as being a transportation. There's one that focuses on the revegetation, that's the last one. And there's one like scene 5 is on the zinc plant. So each photosphere kind of has a theme to it that you can dig into with that. And yeah, the desktop here was very was positive. So yeah, I'd like to do a study. I can't imagine doing any kind of study with the explore mode. So once we get the story mode done, we'll probably make a build for the headsets and do the study. And again, ultimately, and again, I don't know how far we are. Maybe we're looking at the end of next semester, hopefully, I think we're going to get to a point where the headsets like at Jacobsburg and Lehigh Gap Nature Center is going to get 4 or 5 or 6 even Quest 3S headsets. We got a small grant, couple $1,000 for the headsets, but we'll be able to put like at least Watershed Explorers, environmental issues, Watershed Explorers, industrial history, and Lehigh Gap story. I'd like to have like those 3 on everybody's
headsets from at least two of the partners that have them, so that then they could start using them for their own events, programs, and things like that. Kind of like we're going through a phase in development. After we make it, we then conduct the research, based on the research, if we have to make any other edits or things like that. Yeah, often we do. We're ready to put it out to the public. And at some point too, whether it's the end of the semester or which I hope at some point next semester, at least with Varsity Explorers, the two versions, I'd like probably gonna work with GI on, I think, and figure out ways that we can get these things into side quests library so people can find it and download it also. And that's part of our website too, but we'll take it a next step further and look at, I know the Meta Store now is letting you put things up now in beta version. So without having to go through this big rigmarole thing that they used to have to do. But at some point I'm gonna have to, look into that, probably do that with GI on next semester. That's what I'm thinking. I know they're very old. Any other questions? No. All right. So, all right. So I would say, all right. So for next week, everybody clear. I put at the top of the meeting notes the link to the WebGL. I want everyone to go through it. I want you to get into this version. Let's go to plastic right now, and let's see what the name of the repository is. So that for the Watershed Explorers, that's not VR. I mean, I got story. It's just slightly again. So there's VR. If you scroll to the bottom, you see where it says Lehigh Gap Story. There's two of them actually.
That is empty.
It's empty. All right, so let's look at the other one.
I mean, that's empty because it's not in this computer. We haven't downloaded the repository yet.
All right. So, Junior, why do you think it's there twice? Is that a problem or?
I think it's because it's from our very beginning. We haven't opened and compared the projects yet. So.
You think we could do that really quick here? I guess we're gonna need to do it.
No, it's impossible because it's already 4:45.
Okay.
But it's important for someone to download these projects and see if they are complete or not. Because the other one, the VR version, was communicated that it's VR Lehigh Gap Story, so we can see that repository.
All right. So yeah, I'm surprised we have two there because we created. Just give me a sec. I want to take a look here. We have a repository.
She put 2020 because this project is old. And apply.
Repositories and workspaces.
Oh, there it is. She has found it. So this is the PC version and then the WebGL version. And it's from 2022, so it's not that old.
Okay. And that's under Lehigh Gap Story, right? I'm looking at and that's repository or workspace. Sorry, workspaces are on the computer.
The repository is called Lehigh Gap Story only. You did it very fast. Like, can you do it again with the other ones for us to take a look? It might be the case that the other one was the very, very, very first project.
Repositories label Watershed Explorers 2022, IVR Yellow, Mystery, Flood Adventure. Son of a gun. We don't have this in our list of repositories. This is bad. How did I miss that? How did we miss that, Junior?
Because we were not prioritizing the Lehigh Gap Story for the research.
I guess.
That's why we were able to tackle all those whiteboard things in the past year, because we were really following to the priorities.
Yeah. Okay. So I need to add this. I'm gonna just kind of put it under IVR4 as a repository. All right, so the repository name is the Lehigh Gap Story, right?
No,
Lehigh Gap Story only.
That's called Lehigh Gap Story. Okay, Lehigh Gap Story as a repository, and this is option here. This will be desktop.
Currently, the workspace is called Lehigh Gap Story because she downloaded and it's the same name of the repository, but it's fine.
Yeah, so I'm just adding it to our repository and workspace list. So it's the so under repository, this is the desktop and WebGL version, right?
Yeah, and they have the labels.
Yeah, okay. All right, I just got that added to our repository list. Yikes, that was kind of weird. All right, and then under our workspace, we have Lehigh Gap. It's called Lehigh Gap Story LGS on the workspace PC. We have 3 different in the workspace.
So if we
Yeah,
have, let me take a
there's
look
3
at
different
Unity
things there.
here.
Yeah.
Does that mean like laptop or the computer?
Both.
But
If all these things that Dr. Bodzin is reading, like it's our organization for repository and workspaces, and we made sure that the same thing that exists in the laptop exists in the computer,
right.
so that it's a standard and we don't get
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah, so you see right here on our workspace for Lehigh Gap Story, we have a workspace. Here's the path. And we have Unity Practice, Lehigh Gap Story PC, Lehigh Gap Story VR, and Lehigh Gap Story Web. Because they had started the VR, and so we put that into the workspace, that path.
Does that mean I have to add that? I guess.
You have to add from
Just check.
So yeah, users INO RiVR project, Unity projects, or even Unity project.
Yeah, we didn't have one, so she has just found it because these ones are the one she has just created. We didn't have one for Lehigh Gap Story.
All right, so you just create 2. So we should probably get rid of one of them, right?
Yeah, the first one is the most complete.
All right, so get rid of the one with the dot in front of it.
So does that mean we have to rename this? Workspace?
Well, you're under documents, Unity projects, documents. Yeah, that's where this belongs. Huh. I can check version 2. Let me see. I do one WebGL. Yeah, there should be one. If we're gonna, I think we'll. Oh, geez.
So we have to make 3 workspaces?
I think we need 3 workspaces. The way that and I thought we had this on the computer.
But we didn't do for Lehigh Gap.
We didn't?
No.
We never did.
If you told us that it was not in the planning document. If it was not there, we didn't create one.
Well, we developed, I thought you and I and maybe John was with us, where we sat down and we inventoried all the workspaces and labeled them. Junior, I'm in the, we have if you just go to Google Docs, our Google Drive, and just search for repositories plus workspaces. That's the name of this document.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah, but those should be.
Does that look familiar?
So maybe we prepared the nomenclature, but we didn't download the repositories since the project was going to be on a standby.
Okay, that's possible.
But we prepared the names, right? So there is
did.
Lehigh Gap Story PC, no spaces.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that those folders, so those three folders, we need to create 3 new folders, I think, right? Yeah, which should be, and whatever we call them, I mean, here was the nomenclature. So one should be like Lehigh Gap Story PC. One should be Lehigh Gap Story VR, one Lehigh Gap Story Web. But wouldn't that one also have the WebGL in it too? Okay, gotcha. I see what you're doing. All right.
It's good to have 2 workspaces of the same repository, just like we have for
Right.
the shared explorers.
Easier to transfer things
Yeah.
if we do that. Yeah.
Opening the both projects at the same time and stuff.
So is this one's you're gonna do VR or web? I guess it doesn't matter. I think you had the web chain set. VR, okay. So yeah, VR.
But that's not ready, okay? This VR version is not ready.
Alright, so
Yeah, let's just change it to web and we'll download. If you click that chain set on their web, I think that'll be the one to do right there. Yeah, that's the web. That's right. That'll be the web view.
Maybe we should merge back from this VR 3rd level back to the 2nd level because I was fixing stuff like standardized canvas reference to 1920 to 1080, removed unnecessary lighting shadows from scenes, updated the last prompt line in the last scene about the green arrow. So try to merge this back to that WebGL branch T.
What comment you want, Junior?
Just say like resuming the project after standby. So we can see now that in the branch explorer, it's clearly communicated that it was like in a standstill for 2 years.
Yeah.
But we are reopening this project now.
Okay.
And if we ever need also to like create a current version of the PC version, we just need to go there to that change set and like do whatever, like just save a scene so that Unity registers a change, and then we can also create a new change set. But ideally, that is wrong. Like I didn't do task branching yet back in the day.
Right.
So we would need to like branch down to a PC branch and not be using the main branch for different versions.
Back in the old day when we didn't know
Yeah.
branching. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else we need to do with this, Junior? If you're in pretty good shape? Or yeah, okay. All right. So yeah, we're about out of time here. So what everybody knows what to do. There are some things that I wrote in the meeting notes for today that we didn't get to it. I don't think we're ready. It had to do with, I wanted to kind of relabel, builds, change sets for builds, on things, but we can table that. And if we don't get to it next week, again, we could still table that even till the end of the, semester if we have to. So I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, Quan's doing some fixes. Quan, you'll do those fixes on Watershed Explorers. And I want everybody to, like I said, just get familiar, do the desktop VR version and get under the hood with into Unity with this so that we understand what we're doing. And then what we'll do next week is we'll Junior and I'll figure out what the ideal time for him to come in, and we'll take questions and then assign tasks for this. Sound good? All right.
I'm gonna shoot for next week that other two will be
Done. All right. And we're meeting our research group, Junior, Tom, Zalong, and I meet on the morning of next Monday to discuss the research. So I don't know if at that meeting, if we'll have, I drafted items. I don't know if we're going to finalize. I hope they might decide they don't like the items. I don't know, but
okay.
I'll give an update at our meeting in the afternoon about our research meeting. And if the gods smile, we might be able to get you to start coding the items for the post test and thinking about, we have to think kind of strategically. So what we're going to have to do is one version that doesn't have the post test. Hey, this is done. We're going to make WebGL, put it on, or you download it for a desktop VR version. And then we'll have a second version for the research study that's going to have the items, and we're going to have to get those. We're going to have to get a RedCap API token for a RedCap database, and we might at that time shift T to help us with that too. Could be difficult. It's just, so we're going to have to figure out also the. Have you coded for analytics yet?
No, but there's things set in place to do
Yeah.
that fairly easily.
That might be a good skill set for you.
Yeah.
Too, and then we can have T as an assistant for that. But I think that might be a nice skill set for you to develop.
Yeah.
The analytics. I got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went by Windows and WebGL should be good next week.
Yeah.
And
Because once we
I have to
finalize.
do Mac build.
Yeah, once we finalize the items, I gotta put in an IRB amendment, and then once those get finalized, I'll have to, part of that IRB amendment is, Michelle, I'll have to do similar to what I do for Flood Adventures, draft all these other web pages, and
Yeah.
it should be easy. It's non-invasive, so I don't imagine that process taking more than a week or two.
If I'm lucky and there's like not many issues with Mac, then maybe that will be done too. But
yeah,
that's Mac is sort of on the back burner for me. And like after GL and Windows.
Yeah.
But I also want to be done
right
out here too. So
yes.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
But no, I'm like 95. There's a little issue with the replaying.
Okay. All right, it's 6. I'm calling time on it. All right, Junior. Bye. Thanks so much for the session today. This is great.
See you. Bye.
All right, you can hit stop recording.
Bye, Quan.
Bye, Quan. Hope you feel